Installing the Waterfree urinal is fast and simple. A typical installation takes about an hour. The urinal comes complete with all the hardware required for new and retrofit installations, including a universal coupler and a unibracket. Also included are the installation instructions. Keep these instructions handy. You'll need to reference them during installation since there are several steps that are unique to this product. For retrofit installations, where you're replacing a flush urinal with the Waterfree unit, you'll need a drain machine to clean the existing drain. It's essential that the existing drain line is open and clean so that waste and water can naturally flow away. While the installation is not complicated, it's very important to be sure the drain height is correct and the drain line has the proper pitch. Before starting installation, check the rough-in height of the drain pipe according to the installation instructions for the model you are installing. In retrofit installations, shut off the water supply and, using Teflon tape, cap the nipple. A 3/4 inch chrome cap is included with the installation kit. It's the most common supply pipe size. Empty the fixture using a wet-dry vacuum. Next, use a utility knife to cut the caulk around the existing urinal. Do not try to pry the existing urinal off the wall. You can damage the wall or tile. Use a thin, flexible putty knife or scraper and a rubber mallet to remove the bowl. Again, use care to avoid damaging the wall or tile. Remove the old gasket and clean the face of the existing wall flange. Remove the hanger brackets, scrape off caulk, and clean the wall. Use the drain machine with 2-inch side cutter blades to remove scale buildup inside the drain pipe. This is a very important step so there are no obstructions to liquid waste flowing away. Clean as far as possible, up to a depth of 25 to 35 feet, then flush with water to remove cutting debris. Install the brass retainer flange that came with the Waterfree urinal. Be sure the gasket seal and clear plastic inspection disc are in place to check the pitch on the nipple. If the nipple has no flange, thread the included 2-inch nut on the nipple with the inspection disc in place. Slowly pour a small amount of water into the drain. Use a flashlight to check the pitch of the drain. There should be no water present in the inspection disc or nipple. Remove the flange after inspection. If standing water is present in the inspection disc or nipple, you'll need to adjust the drain to achieve the correct pitch. Code requires a 1/4 inch drop per foot of drain line for proper pitch. You may need to lift the drain nipple and brace it with the provided mending plate. It may be necessary to cut away a small section of wall in order to raise the nipple. This is a very important step. The drain pitch must meet codes so that waste can flow away naturally. Follow local building code requirements to repair and seal the wall after adjusting the drain pitch. Measure the rough-in for the unibracket. It's essential to position the unibracket correctly. Measure the rough-in height from the floor to the center of the drain line. Then refer to the installation instructions for the correct height of the unibracket and add this to the rough-in height. Measure and mark with horizontal lines. Find the center of the drain line. Using a carpenter's level, mark a vertical line across the horizontal line. This is the correct location for the center anchor for the unibracket. To make finding the center point on the unibracket easier, darken the stamped lines on the unibracket. Using the unibracket as a template, mark the proper location for the anchors, being sure the unibracket is perfectly level. Score the tile or wall with a nail set or punch. Use a drill with a carbide tip masonry bit to drill all 3 holes. Use the proper safety equipment, such as eye protection, when drilling. Install the anchors. Place the unibracket and screw the unibracket loosely into place. Check level and tighten the screws completely by hand. If pre-existing bearing rods from an in-wall carrier can be used, the additional screws are not necessary. Vitreous china urinals are heavy. Always use safe lifting practices when handling the urinal. Carefully hang the bowl on the unibracket. Check the tailpipe alignment. The tailpipe should align with the center of the drain line. It should have a 1/4 inch clearance all the way around the drain. If it does not, note how much distance is required to align the tailpipe, remove the bowl, and adjust the unibracket as needed. When the tailpipe aligns correctly, mark the lower anchor holes. Carefully remove the bowl without moving the hanger bracket. Determine the drain nipple length by measuring the distance between the back of the sanitary tee or elbow to the front edge of the brass flange. Find the drain nipple depth on the cutting chart that's printed on the installation instructions. Mark the specified trim length on the insert tube at the nearest 1/4 inch groove. Carefully cut the tube using a sharp utility knife. Always use a sharp knife and cut carefully. Be sure the cut is square and flat. If present, clean burrs from the cut end with emery paper. Apply lubricant to the outside of the rubber bushing. Place the tube and bushing into the drain nipple with the arrow tab at the top. Place the seal into the flange with the ribs facing out. Install the flange with washer and hex nuts, but do not tighten completely. Drill holes for the lower anchor screws and insert plastic anchors. Lube the outside and ribbed inside of the bushing. Then loosely hang the gear clamp with the screw head at the bottom, but do not tighten. Lube the tailpipe. If no flange is present, insert the tube and tighten the included 2-inch nut on the drain line. Place the gear clamp with the screw head at the bottom. Do not tighten. Carefully hang the bowl, being sure the tailpipe inserts into the bushing properly. There should be no weight on the tailpipe. Tighten the flange bolts and gear clamp. Install the anchor screws with washers. Pour 5 gallons of water into the bowl as rapidly as possible. While pouring, check to ensure proper flow and that there are no leaks or standing water remaining in the housing. Insert the cartridge into the housing. Use the key with the prongs facing down to turn the cartridge to the right clockwise to lock. Remove the diverter shield. Fill the cartridge with fresh water. You'll need a quart or more. Fill until no air bubbles appear. The cartridge must be filled with fresh water before adding the sealant. This is a very important step. The cartridge will work correctly only if it has been filled properly. Add the sealant when the cartridge is filled. Be sure to allow time for the sealant to drain completely into the cartridge. Use the entire contents of the sealant package. After the cartridge is filled with sealant, clean excess sealant and replace the diverter shield. Finally, caulk the bowl to the wall and place the Waterfree plaque. As you've seen, installing the Waterfree urinal is not complicated. You can ensure it correctly and is trouble-free by making sure you followed these important steps. First, the rough-in height must allow for a 24-inch rim height from the finished floor, or 17 inches for an ADA-compliant installation. Rough-in and drain height specifications are listed in the installation instructions. Second, in retrofit installations, the drain must be unobstructed, clean as far as possible to a depth of 25 to 35 feet. Third, the drain line must have the proper pitch per standard plumbing code, so waste can flow away. By following each of the steps outlined in this presentation, you'll find it simple and fast to install the Waterfree urinal. If you have any questions, call our customer care team, toll-free. To become a certified Waterfree urinal installer, contact us.